I hope you enjoyed my 3 Hawaiian digital flipbook videos. In this video, I'll show you how to make one like it if you want to. Let's take a look at what the video might look like if you decided to use Doodly by itself. As you can see, I've opened the Doodly program. From here, we're going to start from scratch, so you can see how I started it. Okay, if you've seen my previous videos, you know that in order to create a new video, you're going to have to come up here to this plus sign and click the plus sign, and it will open up. And this is how you get your new scene. So I am going to title this Flipbook Tutorial. And then this particular tutorial, or most of them actually, needs to be at 1080p. And then we just hit create. And then that gives you your blank screen. Now you can probably see by looking at this that Doodly looks like a book already. I mean, you can put something on the right side and something on the left side, and that's pretty much what we're going to do. We're going to put the text on the right and the pictures on the left. So the first thing, though, what I want to do is to choose my hand, and that's the hand that's going to be writing the text. So you're going to go down here to Settings, and there's always this default hand with this person that's wearing the sweater. She obviously doesn't live in Texas because right now it's 96 degrees outside. But we're going to pick a different hand, and I'm going to pick this hand right here, the third one from the left, and then I'm going to pick Apply. So that's going to give us our hand, and you'll see that when we put the text in there and we see how the text is written on. Now, for the text, I've decided that I'm going to use the font Dancing Script Bold. So you're going to hit the text selection right here, and then to find Dancing Script Bold, just punch in a D there, and take this and move it over, and there you're going to have your text box. So we'll double click on that and highlight it so we can type in what we want. And so I'm going to type in my description for the first picture. And it is the first stop when I arrived in Maui was attending a luau. Okay, now before you put done, you're really not done, make sure that you select the word wrap box right here so that the text will wrap, and then we can adjust it later. So you'll punch in there done, and there's our text. Before I start moving it around, I'm going to give it the font and the alignment. So in order to change the font on this, there's this little gear, which is the settings for the text box, and you'll open that, and I don't want 67, I want 80 for my font size. And then we will select Apply, and that will make it a bit bigger. And the alignment, I want a center alignment, so I'll just pick that. Then I can move this over here because this is the right-hand side of the book. So far, so good. Now I need my title. So we'll go back up over here to Dancing Script Bold. We're still in the text box selection. And I'm going to select that. And the title of this is going to be Maui Luau. So I don't want this title to be in black, I want it to be in red. So I'm going to select that, hit this little color picker that looks like a paint thing, and select red. And now we are done. Now the font I want, I'm going to go back up to the little gear again. The font I want is 120. So I've changed it to 120, and then I'm going to hit apply. And now we have our font. So I'm going to do that there, and just kind of line it up to where it looks decent. And so there is your right-hand side of your book, so to speak, your flipbook. The next thing we need to do is we need to find a picture to put in there that matches this. So in order to import our own pictures, and if you've seen some of my other videos on Doodly on how to import a photo, you'll remember this, but in case you don't, you'll go up to here which says props, and then click props, and that will open this up. And then we're going to click the plus sign so I can browse files and select the picture I want, which is going to be this one, and then select open, and then continue. And when I continue, that's going to pull it over into my scene, and I can move it. It's a little big, so I'll resize it. And then you can line it up however way you want, and then that's what your first scene is going to look like. Now let's take a look at what it looks like by selecting preview. So I hit the preview button. Now when I see that, I really hate that. For one thing, it's not coming in the order I would like, because basically when I made it, I just went in and pulled in things in a certain order. But I want to change the order. I would like it to where my picture comes in first. So we'll go down here and drag this up to where our picture is on top, and then the title is going to be right there. So we have the picture coming in first, the title will come in next, and then the body of the work will then come in. That doesn't look okay. So then to see what it looks like, we'll hit preview. Okay, so far there are two things wrong with this. One is that Doodly, one of the weaknesses of it, I don't know if it's I don't think Doodly is really supposed to do this, but we're probably asking it to do more than it is supposed to do. But if you're using photos, it doesn't understand how to draw them in, so what it does is it just kind of paints them on like you have a big brush. It doesn't really draw them. So the solution to that is going to be to do this. To come down here, and this time duration right here, you're going to take this down to 0, so that way the picture will just pop in, like this. See, it just popped in. Unfortunately, it popped in, but the text popped in almost immediately after the picture popped in, and we don't want that. So this is where you're going to fiddle with the timing of when your text appears in the title. And also, if you'll notice, the body of the text was written on there very, very quickly, and that looks really strange. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it a second delay for the title to come in. Then after that, the body comes in, but the body is being written in at 1.5 seconds, no matter how many words you have in here. So the title is 1.5 seconds, and the body is 1.5 seconds. And you don't want that. So I will increase the amount of time that it takes for the body to be written in by 3 seconds. Now let's see how it looks like with that little title delay and giving the body more time to write in. Okay, that looks a lot better. It doesn't look like that they're writing it in at 1,000 miles an hour. Now, you can keep, if you like this, like if you don't want to make any more adjustments, maybe you might want the title to come in later, you can always adjust that, or you want the duration of the body to be longer. What I would do is I might make it 5 seconds because some of my descriptions are longer than this, and if they're longer than this, you don't want something to be written on there in 3 seconds, but of course that's up to you and it's a personal preference. So if you like the way this looks as far as your digital scrapbook, all you have to do is to add another scene and then put the next description, picture in, add another scene, and so on until you have all your pictures in the Doodly program. And then you would just go up to export and export it out as a video. So then you're going to have your own video. The only thing is what I wanted was I wanted something that would actually look like a book. And this doesn't look like a book. I mean, you can't turn the page or anything like that. So, this is where PowerPoint came in. And with PowerPoint, you can take this and put it in a PowerPoint and make it look like a book. And that's what we're going to be looking at next. Well, here we are back in Doodly. There are a few things we have to do before moving into PowerPoint. Before we can export this to video, we have to set the timing that we want for the text. I decided on 1.5 seconds for the title and 5 seconds for the body. So normally, always, the text defaults to 1.5 seconds. So that means for the body, we're going to have to change this to 5 seconds. And so that's what we're going to have. Let me show you the scene settings. In the scene settings, we also have extra time for 0.5 seconds. So if we add all that up, you're going to have 5, 6.5, 7 seconds in all. So that's the way it's going to be. Now, before we can export this out, we're going to have to delete the photo. Why? Because what we're going to do is we're going to insert it in PowerPoint when we get over there. So we're going to take the photo, we're going to toss it into the trash can, we're going to say, yes, we're really serious about that, and this is what it's going to look like. Now, probably it's a good idea to save the changes here so that you can use this as a template. So we're going to save the changes, and then we're all ready to export this. So we go up here to export it out, make sure it's exported where you want it to go, and this is going to videos, and I don't like that. I export everything to my desktop. So we will do that, and then we're going to save the export place and see it's changed to desktop. We want the resolution to be 1080p, and then just punch export. And then it will export, and once it's done, I will see you over in PowerPoint. Okay, I'm back and have opened PowerPoint. The version that I'm using is Office 365. Now open PowerPoint and select Blank Presentation, which is right here. I double-clicked on it. And for layout, you're going to select blank. And you don't need designer. Okay. Now the first thing we have to do is to import our video. And to do that, you will go up to Insert, and you'll go to Video from this device. And I saved the two videos that I'm going to use for this instruction right here, and the first one is called Maui 1. So I'll click on that and click Insert. Okay, now you'll notice that, well, I'll tell you what it's supposed to do. If you export this out of Doodly at 1080p, it should snap to fit this, and it didn't. It didn't when I did my Hawaii videos, and it's not doing that now. So since I knew that in advance, I made sure that I knew what numbers I was supposed to have for the height and the width. So I'm going to have to, well, what I did was right here under size, is I clicked this little bitty arrow right here to expand the size box, and then I will enter the numbers that I have. 7.55 is going to be for the height, and 13.46 is going to be for the width. Now, notice it's still off kilter here. That's because that we need to tell it what position it's supposed to be. For horizontal position, you're going to need to put a 0 in there, and for vertical position, you're going to need to put a 0 in there. And then everything should line up, and it does. Now the next thing we have to do is to import the picture. Now trust me, the video is here, even though you don't see it. And in case you don't trust me, I'll hit play, and it will appear right here. So you see that it's right there. Now we need to get our picture in there. So I'm going to go back up to Insert again and go to Pictures. And from this device, and navigate to where I stuck all my stuff, which is in this folder, Luau Pictures. And this is the picture that I'm using on the first slide, so I'll just punch Insert for that one. So now you'll need to move it over here and resize it. You'll probably be resizing it again, once you see everything. Okay, so now we have our first slide. So now we'll need to insert another slide. So you'll go up here to Insert and insert a new slide. Insert a blank slide. And now you have another slide, and we'll do the same thing again with our second video. So again, we're going to insert our video. Right here's video from this device. And then my next one is called Maui 2, and I will insert that. And again, we'll have to go through inserting the size numbers again. I've done it so much that it's almost, not a pain. At first this was a real pain, and I never could figure out why it wasn't snapping, and I just got tired of trying to figure it out. So, okay, so the position is going to be 0, and so you're fine there. And then we're going to need to insert our picture. So we'll go up here and insert our picture, again from this device. And this time we're going to insert 2 of them. Now I found out the hard way that you can't just click on these 2 pictures and insert them together, then they end up stuck together. So there's either you can't do that or there's something I don't know about. So I inserted each of them separately. So there's that picture, and we'll need to move it over there. And then we'll insert our second one, insert picture, and insert like that. Okay. So now we have our 2 pictures, and I'll resize them. I'll probably resize them a couple more times to make sure that they're where they're supposed to be. Okay, so now we have that. Okay, so now from here, what I tried to do is to go to slideshow and go from beginning. Sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. So the one thing you're going to have to do, since we don't have the timings inserted yet, you're going to have to click every time you want a new element to appear. So let's go from the beginning. And sometimes it has this weird thing that it does. It writes twice, but okay, so notice how that comes in. Then what should happen is when you click again, you should go to the next slide, but it doesn't do that. Sometimes it'll do it and sometimes it doesn't, but I didn't worry about it because I know that sooner or later, there we go. We had to click it a couple times. Sooner or later, once we get our timings in, then we'll be good to go. But I'm one of those people that likes to play everything. I mean, I know it's there, but it just makes me feel emotionally better to see that it's there. Now, this thing does not look like a flip book in any stretch of the imagination. So what we need to do is we want to add a transition which will make it look like a flip book. So we will go up here to transitions, and there is a transition in here called page curl. Notice all the transitions are here. And sometimes it's fun to see what all of them look like, but I'm not going to bore you by doing that. Okay, so then I click the arrow, so there's a second layer of them, and here it is, page curl. So we're going to click on page curl, and see how it opens up. That will add the page curl, and it added it to our first slide. So we got the preview there, and I'll hit preview to show what the preview looks like. Now the reason that the text doesn't appear is because that preview button is just to preview your transition that you added. It's not to preview the whole slide. To make it go to the other slide, you want to click this up here that is apply to all. And then if we go down here, we should have a page curl here. There we go. Okay. So we've got the page curl in there. Okay, right now, what I want to do is I want to add something to make this look like a real book. Obviously, it doesn't, but to make this look like a real book, we need a shadow in the center. And this is how you're going to do that. You're going to go up here and go to Insert, and then Shapes, and then you're going to pick a rectangle. And then in the middle of the book, we will draw a rectangle like this. And then make sure that your rectangle, that little dot right here, lines up with the 0 so that it's going to be in the center of your book. And once you got it lined up the way you want it, all you're going to do is lengthen it out, and that's what it's going to look like right there. Now notice when I selected a shape, the Format Shape box opened up. And in PowerPoint, that happens whenever you click on whatever item you're going to do. If I would click on my video, then Format Video would open up. If I clicked on my picture, Format Picture is going to open up, and so on. So now we're going to Format Shape. Well, we don't want a solid fill on our shape, so I'm going to select Gradient Fill on this one. And then I'm going to come down to Preset Gradients, and the preset gradients and the direction are already set the way I want them. They're going from right to left as far as lightness to darkness, and that's the way I want, what I want it to do. Now, looking farther down, we have something that's called a gradient stop. The gradient stops. If I were to open this up from scratch again, I would only see 5 gradient stops here. Well, I actually need, 4 gradient stops here. I actually need 5 of them. So if you opened up your PowerPoint, you only had 4 of them and you needed 5, then you would just click on this Add Gradient Stop, and that would give you another gradient stop. And what these things do is to tell you how your shading is going. what I want on the gradient stops is I want the two on the end to be white. So what I did previously, and that's why it's white now, is you click on the stop, and then you go to the paint bucket can, and then you can pick the color that you want for your gradient stop. And the one I wanted was white, and so I did that, and then I picked the one on the right, and then picked white. And so that made them white on the outside, and that's going to give you the white on the outside shading. Okay, and then on the middle one, that's where your dark color on your crease is going to be. So you would click on that one and then go in here and make sure that the dark gray is selected. And then the one on the outside, you would do the same thing on the left. That one, I just wanted it a little bit darker, so I selected that. And then this one over here, I wanted it a little bit lighter, so I selected this one. So the middle one is the darkest one, this one. And this one is this box right here. And then this one is this box right here. And that's where you get all your colors. So that's the colors that we want. Now, if you go down farther, notice that solid line is selected. Well, we don't want that. There's not a solid line on a shadow inside of a book. So we want to make sure that we select no line, so it's not going to have a line on it. So those are the ones that you're going to have. Okay, so if we click off of that, we can see that now we've got the shadow in the middle of our book, and it looks more like something where you would turn the page. Now on our second one, our second slide, we don't have a crease yet, so what we're going to do is we're going to have to copy this. So we'll click on it and do a right click and then copy, and then click on the second slide and then right click again and select paste. And then there we are. We have it over here. Notice that it's where it's supposed to be. So thank goodness we don't have to mess with it again and make sure that it's where we're supposed to be. Okay, now the next thing I think I'm going to do before I bring in the book cover and what the book's going to be setting on and all that is I'm going to format my pictures. So we'll go back to the first slide and then click on the picture. When you click on the picture, then the picture format, see this right here, picture format, this has now appeared. So you can click on picture format, and that's going to give you all these cute little frames here, and there's a lot of them. Notice how I mouse over them. It'll show what all of them are, and you can pick the one you want. I decided to be really dull and boring on this since this is really going to be a picture book or a scrapbook, and I picked the simple frame, which is white, for this one. Then I would go to my next slide and pick white for that one, select the picture, and pick white for that one. So now we've got our pictures formatted the way we want them so far, unless we want to move them around or something like that. I mean, that always happens. Okay, now the frame that I picked is called Simple Frame. It's the very first one. Now, as you probably know, every book needs a cover. So this is how we're going to do that. The first thing we're going to have to do is to insert a new slide. So we'll insert a blank slide, and then we'll insert another blank slide, and move one of the blank slides to the top, and move the other blank slide to the bottom. So this blank slide right here is going to be the top of our book, and this blank slide here is going to be the end of our book. Now what I did is I went out to Pixabay and looked for pictures of covers of books and pictures of a table kind of a thing for the book to sit on. And then I stored them in there. So now I have this selected, and all I'm going to need to do is to insert the picture. So I'll go up here and insert the picture, and it's on this device. And here's my gray tabletop. I don't really know if that's a gray tabletop. It just looked like one on Pixabay, so I decided I was going to use that one. And look, I mean, if you want to redesign it, you can do that. But I didn't think about doing that, so... Okay, so I'm going to make it wider so that it will fill everything in. And that's kind of cute. Oh well, never mind. And then we're going to do the same thing on the last slide. We're going to insert the picture from this device. And here's the tabletop. Insert it. And there's your tabletop right here. And so there's the tabletop that our make-believe book is going to sit on. So we're going to go back up here and we're going to grab the book. And I had that stored. So we're going to go Pictures, this device, and it's in there. This is the photo album cover that I've decided I'm going to use. And then we'll put it in there and move it over. And then make sure that it's centered. So we'll center it with our ruler. And so that's what it's going to look like right there. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to, for the end of the book. So we're going to insert it in there. And so this one, I don't know how to make it flip, so I had to do it the hard way. Oh well, that's the way it goes. Okay, and then that, and move it over, and then make sure that it's matched up with a 0 up here on the ruler, and there is your book when it's closed. Okay, so we have that in there. So we're going to go up here, and our next thing to do is to insert some text. The first thing that you're going to have to do is to insert a text box. I don't know why I have so much trouble with text boxes, but I do. So I'm going to insert this text box, and then I really didn't want to do that. Okay, let me insert. Where did my text box go? And then we're going to need to type some text in our text box. The font that I chose was something called, that I'd never heard of before, but I think I just buzzed around in there and found something that I liked, and it was called Baquette Script Size 54. Okay, there it is down there, Baguette Script Size 64. Size 54. Okay, so I'm going to pick the size as 54. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the title, which I'm going to call Maui Scrapbook. And that looks really odd. Okay, so that's our Maui Scrapbook. And I am going to center that. Oops, not that one. Center both of them. And then move that up to where it's in the center. Okay. So now we have our title on the scrapbook. Now, I'm going to right-click on this and select the text color. Hopefully I can find the text color on here. Can I not find the text color? No. Oh, I guess I should select it. Duh. Okay, So then I'm going to select the text color, and I decided to use some kind of gold. And right down here, you've got all these golds here. And here is one that's, well, let me see it. And that's going to be Gold Access Thor. Then on the shape styles, there's a shape styles box. Where is it? Okay, the shape styles box, so you can see the format shape box on the right. And what I needed was, okay, format. Okay, maybe I need it under text options. That's why. Okay, so under shape, I needed to pick text options right there. And then pick that. Then I should be able to bevel my script. So I'm going to select this, and it worked. Yay! Okay, so then for width and height, we're going to enter 12 point. And so that's going to look like that. And for the depth down here, we are going to select gold. Okay, with the size being 3 point. So we had that. Okay, so we've got that much done. Now under contour, what we want is a gray contour so that it kind of sticks out a little bit. So contour, we're going to select gray. Let's see how this gray looks. Yeah, I guess that's okay. And then under material, we're going to select standard and warm matte, which is what it's already selected as. Okay, now make sure that this is what you want, so take a look at it. I mean, my advice would be to fiddle with it, and that's what I did. Unfortunately, sometimes when you do that, you don't remember what you did. But anyway, this is what I went with, and because now we're going to get to the fun part, and that part has to do with timings. Okay, so here we are. Okay, now what you want to do is to select transitions. And this is where we're going to put in our timings. This is one of those things that you're really going to have to mess with to make sure that your timings are what you want them. Now on the first slide right here, the timing is going to be 2 seconds. So right here where it says duration, it's going to be 2 seconds. So we're going to make that 2 seconds right there. And we're going to keep on mouse click, this on mouse click box selected. And then right here where it says after, it's going to be after 7 seconds. So that's what we're going to have on the first slide only. Okay, so after that, then we're going to go here, and for the rest of the slides, the duration is going to be 2 seconds, just like the previous one, but we're going to uncheck on mouse click, because if we don't do that, then you're going to have to click every time you want the next thing to change, and you don't want to do that. We have to tell it how many seconds it's going to be on there so that it knows. Because if you don't, when you export the video out, it's going to arbitrarily say that everything is 5 seconds. And if you don't want that, then that's not going to be great. Okay, and it's going to be the same on this one. This one is going to make sure that this is 2 seconds. And then it's not going to be on mouse click, and it's going to be 7. I'm going to change that to 7 seconds. Okay, so let's make sure that, okay, the after box, I checked it. I didn't remember doing it. And then on the last one, it's going to be the same thing. I'm not sure. Well, I guess it does matter. So we're going to uncheck on mouse click, put 7 seconds here, and then those are going to be the timings that you're going to have. Now, sometimes PowerPoint has a mind of its own, and it likes to do what it likes to do on the timings. So before you try to export this thing out, you really, really need to make sure that this is going to work. I have found that sometimes even if it doesn't work, when I export it out, it works the way I want it. So it's kind of bizarre. So I'll select slideshow, and then I'll do from beginning. Okay, so the very first one, you're going to have to start it, okay, on this one. Okay, so there it goes. And then there it goes again. Okay, now, one thing that you should have noticed at the end is at the end, for whatever reason, its timing was not what it should be. So we want to go back to transitions and see what's going on with this tabletop. Okay, so this duration on mouse click, that's how it should start. And then all of these should be the same thing. Okay, make sure that this is on mouse click. I don't know why this is doing a page curl. It shouldn't be doing a page curl there. Okay, let's take the page curl off of there and see if that's going to fix that. None. So we'll take that off of there, and for whatever reason, I don't know if you've noticed okay, well, the settings are what they're supposed to be, so let's go at the beginning again and see if that fixed it. That fixed that part. I don't know if you've noticed, but the table decided that it was going to flip, and it's not supposed to do that. Yeah, that right there should not be disappearing. Okay, now all of them are disappearing. Okay, so it must have something to do with this. Wow. Okay, make sure that that's that. And we will then there it goes. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So make sure that you fiddle around with it. Notice that on that first slide, it like to change back to what it was before. So anyway, now all you have to do, once you have decided that that's the way you want it to look, then you can save it, and then you will go up to File, and then hit Export, and then you'll select Create a Video. Now this is what I was talking about right here. Here, notice that Use Recorded Timings and Narration is automatically selected. I don't know why I don't know if it's doing that because I put recorded timings in there, or if it just auto selects that way. If you choose not to do that, if you unselect it, what it's going to do is it's going to arbitrarily just say, okay, we're only going to spend 5 seconds on here. So then all you have to do is hit Create Video, and then pick where you want to stick it. I always put it on my desktop. I can always find on my desktop since I keep my desktop clean, and then you can just name it anything that you can remember, and then I will hit Export. Now, once it's exporting down here, it will show you that it's exporting out. Once it gets done exporting, then you'll be able to see that it's done, and then you can play your video back the way you to make sure that it's the way you want to do it. So there we go. Can you imagine how long this would be if I put 11 or 12 slides in there like I did for my 3 books? So anyway, this will export out, and there should be a pop-up that comes up and tells you when it's done. There we go. And then it will tell you that video exported successfully. Well, we're going to take a look at it. I think we'll be the judge of that, whether it's exported successfully. And here it is. It's right here on our desktop. And then we can open it up to see what it looks like as a video. There it is. I'll try and get my mouse out of the way. And there we are. We have our complete video. That's how I made my 3 Hawaii Digital Flipbook videos. Hopefully this will encourage you to make a flipbook of your own. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you are alerted to all my future videos.